Hi, this is Ranger from Azimuth Group. So today I'll show you how to create a high PR blog network for yourself, for your SEO. So I'm going to show you how to actually search and purchase domains. And so what you'll learn in this video is actually where to find them, but also how to make sure you get quality domains, right? We're going to go through a health check for some websites. So the first thing we do is we go to expireddomains.net, and you will need an account, and it's actually it's a free service. So I'm just gonna log in here, and actually I'm gonna pause. Okay, and now I'm actually logged in. What we want to do is we want to click on other domains here at the top left, and we want to select GD expired. So GD stands for GoDaddy expired domains. So we're going to click on that, and we want to set a filter. So we're going to click show filter. The first thing we're going to do is check no fake PRs, so this will cut back on the junk. And then the second thing we can do is set a minimum of PRs. So let's say you're just looking for domains between that have a PR between 2, 3, 4, 2 and 10, for example. You can just put 2 over here. And then I'd like to see more domains per page, so I select 200. Additional filters. I only select top-level domains that end with .com, .net, .org, and .info. The reason for that is because we can set domain privacy on them after you purchase them. So this prevents Google from uncovering our entire blog network by just matching the domains, right? Ranger owns them all. So we check that, and then end date. It's useful if you're looking for a domain for, let's say, today. So you would put today's date. So the auctions are expiring today. It could be within an hour, within a few hours. And then here I actually don't select any settings. So yeah, that's good. Oh, the length. That's the length of the actual domain. So sometimes I don't want to bother with huge domain names, so I click 30 here. So we can hit apply filter, and now we get roughly 837 domains. So we can filter them by PR. So it starts at the top. And I'll start with a few PR4 domains. So I'll just do a health check. And actually, I mean, you could start with PR9s, but usually they're out of range, right? So I'm just gonna start with PR4s. And the first thing we do is we go into majesticseo.com. So you can use a free account, but I think it limits the number of searches per day or something. I highly recommend the paid account. It's only $49 a month. It's well worth it. It gives you essentially an entire link profile of a site. Yeah, it's very useful. So I just put that domain name in there, pedare.org. And so this is a no buy. So it's got no referring domains, no external backlinks, no citation flow, no trust flow. So essentially what you're looking for is a minimum of a citation and trust flow of 10. It's not even registered. And depending on the PR level, you want PR5, you want at least 1500, and that's current and the past. I'll show that in a little bit later. Oops. Okay. I guess I can log out. Yeah, so PR5, you know, you want 1500, PR4 you want 1000, and PR3 and 2 you want at least 100 backlinks. And so let's just keep going through the list. A good indicator that the potential site is good is actually these numbers. So if there's this one we're going to check has $100 bid on it. This is not always accurate, by the way. So when you actually go to the auction site, the GoDaddy auctions, it will tell you what the current price is. So let's go in Majestic. So next domain, you know, let's get in there. And okay, so the trust flow is not that high. Actually, I wouldn't go for this. Let's look at some of the other signs. Referring domains, it's a PR4. This is not high at all. So we can look at the anchor text. I wouldn't go for this. And you look at the anchor text. You got Hulk Hogan, sex. I mean, tornado in Dallas. It's all over the place. Sidney Crosby. It was probably a previous SEO site before, so I would not touch it. So let's just go through a few sites and see if we find any gems. So sometimes you'll even get blank sites, so this is a no-go once again. And actually I've selected a I think it's fine-tuning that I checked. I did a little bit of research. So fine-tuning, notice here, is a PR5, and so if we jam it in here, if we look at the summary first, this is very healthy. So notice there's PR5, so there's at least, you know, 1500 and plus backlinks. What's important here is the citation flow and the trust flow above 10 both. That's perfect. So referring domains, that means that there's 429 different sites that have a total of 3,000 backlinks pointing to it now. The difference between the two numbers here, this is fresh stuff. This is over the past year. So when we're looking at these numbers, it's combined. So it would be this plus this, so it's 25K. So this is actually really good. Next step would be to actually just check the anchor text. So you can see it's got a lot of the brand name, right? Finetuning.com, fine-tuning tutorials, you know, articles I have written. So this is a very healthy profile. You're not seeing you know, over optimizations for keywords. You're not seeing Viagra. So this actually looks good, and you can see where the links are coming from. So if you click on this, they're coming from 48 domains that provide 275 links. And their combined citation and trust flow is 48 and 48. So this is actually good. So to give a counter example, let's say you get this, but and then you check anchor text, and you have one domain. So let's say the number here was, instead of 48, was 1, and then it was 3,000 domains. That would be a red flag. So essentially the majority of the backlinks, let's say 3,000 out of 3,500, is coming out of one website. So that's a huge red flag. So if that site decides to not backlink anymore, boom, that's your juice is gone. So you got to be careful. So let's go to the next step. The first step, again, citation flow, trust flow, external backlinks. This actually looks good. Then we look at the anchor text. We make sure there's a good distribution. It's not one domain that has all the power. We also make sure there's nothing like you know, Viagra or sex tapes or things like that. So the next step is to actually go in to a prchecker.info website. So if you go here, and then we actually verify that this site is a PR5. C2, so there's a CAPTCHA. Oops. We'll verify, and it actually gives you a confirmation. And then I recently found this other site, to rankchecker.com. It also checks that the it's a valid site too. So I'll give you the PageRank, but it has an extra algorithm that checks if it's fake or not. I don't know exactly what they do, but in some cases, actually, this was giving me the green light, but this one was saying fake. So I used both just to be sure. Then the next thing you want to do is actually check and make sure that Google, quote unquote, likes the site. So what I mean by this is we want to make sure that it's not penalized, it's indexed. So the way we do that is we actually go to google.com, and we just type in the domain name, and we make sure it shows up first. Some domain names you might actually check and they will not show up first, or they will not show up at all. So you got to be careful. The next step is to do site. So you just put the site directive and fine-tuning. Again, you want to make sure it shows up. Oftentimes you can do an analysis. Everything looks good, it's a real PR, but then it says when you do this directive site, it's not showing up. So that might be a sign that Google de-indexed it. Is like, why is it not showing up? It's the own it's its own website, web URL. It should show up in Google. And sometimes it will actually not show up like this, but it will show up like this with the triple W in front of it. So that's fine. That's like, don't freak out. That's fine. If it shows up for this, but not without the triple W, that's fine. And then the next check you want to do is actually info like this, fine tuning, and make sure this shows up. So it's all looking good, everything's looking good. So the next step would be to actually just go to WHOIS and jam it in there, and we can look at the site profile, sorry, the WHOIS record. And what we're looking for is beside the registrar history, sometimes it might say dropped. So we don't want to get a website that had a dropped in the past first or second year, and in the last year or the year before. So drop means that the website was not taken care of, he didn't renew it properly, or so you don't want to work with a dropped website. So that's how you get a high PR domain. Now comes the bidding. So if we go back to expired domains, we actually click on fine tuning here. That brings us to the GoDaddy auction. So now the price is actually whoo, this is a really good site. So the price is actually at $2,599. So when you bid, it increases. Sometimes it has automatic bidding. It's not actually automatic, it's because you can set a limit. So if I were to put 3,000, if somebody had bid 3,500 before, it's just gonna automatically bid over that limit. And anyways, you'll see what I mean when you actually get to that. But yeah, so you would put your bid in there, and if you're successful in the auction, you get the domain. It's in your account. It takes some time to actually for you to have access to that domain name. It can be between 2 and 10 days. So it's because the actual owner of that website has to manually transfer it to you. And as soon as you get it, it's extremely important to set up domain privacy, and I'll cover that in a different video. So for now though, let's recap the steps, and maybe let's check a couple different websites. So this one is kind of funny, bootyshaking-videos.info. So you're going through the list one by one, and then the first step is you put the website in Majestic SEO. See, again, this is a showstopper right away. Trust flow of 2, bad idea. And what is the anchor text here? Yeah, Lady Gaga is spelt wrong, and it's got a whole bunch of, I mean, if you this website just, look, it's just got random different names. I don't know what this is. So yeah, so this is a definite showstopper. We can do a couple more of the health checks. Just for example, it says it's a PR5, so I'm gonna put it in here and put it in here. This one is saying it's okay, this one too, that's good. And then we would look at in Google if the website is actually showing up first. bootysshakingvideos.info. Yeah, that looks good. Sometimes what tricksters will do is I'm not gonna get into too much of the mechanics, but they'll register a similar domain, but instead of an I, it has a 1. So you gotta be careful. And through a 301 redirect, they can transfer the juice. Anyway, so you'd be purchasing a domain that does not have value. And then we do site bootysshakingvideos.info showing up first, and then we do info. It's also showing up in there. So, I mean, if the trust flow was higher, it'd be a decent buy, but it is not. So, so just don't purchase it. And then was this site dropped? No, that's fine. Okay, so you just got to keep going through that list. So, globalpropertysales.info. Again, showstopper, no trust flow. And you just keep going through that list. Okay, so this one looks, okay, Virgil good. Okay, this, okay, sounds good. We can look, you know, citation, 15, backlink, it's fine. It's a PR5. It should have a little bit more backlinks, actually. We should have 1,500. It's got 3,000. It's fine. Let's look at the other sign. So anchor text, Virgil Good Jr. So it looks like it might have been an official site for a person named Virgil Good. Congress campaign. So it sounds like it might be you know, senator or something. So it's all Virgil Good, Virgil Good. So this is legit. The trust flow is good. Let's look back here again. Yeah, from multiple referring domains. Okay, that looks good. That's fine to me. Next step is to actually verify that it is indeed a PR5. So I'll stick it in here and also stick it in here. Okay, so 5. Okay, good here. Valid, valid, all good. Okay, we're good. So next step, we put the actual site in here. Virgil Good shows up first. Let's just make sure we got the correct spelling. Good here, good here. Okay, that's good. Site looks good as well. Info looks good. Okay. Next step is to actually look up the WHOIS record, no drops. Okay, this looks good. So the next step would be to actually click on that and bid on it. So expires in 20 hours. The bid is at $22. There's been 3 bids. What I recommend to not set off any alarms, I would wait 19 hours, bid just 15 minutes before it ends, and then capture the capture that domain. And actually, I might just do that right now. Well, not right now, but I might actually get that domain. It looks decent. So this is how you capture. This is how you build your blog network. To recap the steps, essentially, you go to expireddomains.net. You go to you sign up for a free plan. You need to do that. and then you click other domains, GoDaddy expired domains. You set up the filters. Again, the filters are no fake PR domains. I'm looking for minimum of PageRank 2. Max length of the domain of 30. I want to show 200 domains per page. And then you only want .com, .net, .org, and .info because you can set domain privacy on them. And then for the end date, you can leave it blank or select just today. If you're looking to buy something today within the next 24 hours, you want to select today's date. Okay, and then you just go through the list one by one. You select the domains. The first step is making sure citation flow and trust flow are both 10 or above. If they're below 10, it's a showstopper. Move on to the next site. The next step is to checking the external backlinks, making sure that these two numbers, 280 and 3000, for PR5 it's above 1500, PR4 above 1000, PR3 and 2 at least 100. Okay, and you also want good diversity of referring domains. So if you have one domain providing all the backlinks, that's a showstopper. The next step is to check the anchor text, and you make sure that it's not one domain providing all of the backlinks again. So let's say this site has 3000 backlinks. You want to make sure that not one referring domain provides 2,900 worth of those backlinks. This is a definite showstopper because all you need to do is, if that domain stops referring back to your site, you lose all your juice. So that's for this portion. And then the next step is to actually verify with rankchecker.com. You put in the website in there, you check the PageRank and the validation, and same thing with prchecker.info. You use those both sites to verify the PR. Okay, and then the next steps, again, just to recap, is you go on Google, you type in the domain name itself, you make sure it's in the first few rankings, then you type info, and with the domain name you make sure it shows up there in the first few rankings, and then you type in site and you make sure it shows up there. And then the last step is to check in WHOIS .sc, and you just check and make sure it's not dropped. So in parentheses here it could say it was dropped. And then once all these are good, you're good to go. You go back to here, and then you actually click on the domain. The auction will pop up in GoDaddy, and you'll just bid. To sign up for GoDaddy auction sites, I think it's only $4. So you just sign up, make sure your account is good, and then so that's it. This is Ranger from Azimuth Group, and see you next time. Cheers.